facing so many problems in 2024, and it doesn't look like 2025 is going to be any better for them. But now we're hearing that they may cut staff by 40% or around 8,000 people amid rumors of a buyout. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I can't say I'd be particularly sad if Ubisoft fell off the face of this earth, because while they have amazing IPs, they refuse to do anything with them, and they just milk the same handful for all they're worth, and they're putting money towards projects that absolutely nobody wants or that we initially wanted, but they showed us and they were extremely disappointing pieces of content, like Skull and Bones, for example. People absolutely loved Assassin's Creed Black Flag. We thought that they would take that concept and build upon it, and they came out with an extremely mediocre game, which, by the way, we're hearing rumors that they allegedly spent between $650 and $850 million on this game, which is why they were calling it a quadruple A title. And they were even initially saying that they could have charged us more than $70, but this game fell completely flat for them. It just was not the experience that people wanted. When you hear about a gigantic open world pirate themed game, you're thinking massive raids, you're thinking tons of players, you're thinking an almost MMO status, and this game was anything but amazing, and it was missing features. Like, you couldn't smoothly get onto another person's ship or another ship in the world. Graphically, it looked like it was a couple of years old, that's for sure, and it had been in development for a decade, so that's not particularly shocking. But now we're hearing, after their quadruple A failure with Skull and Bones that reportedly cost them $650 to $850 million, X-Defiant, which was supposed to be the Call of Duty killer and fell flat, and Star Wars Outlaws, a game that they put a lot of money towards. I mean, it had the largest marketing budget they've ever put towards a game, and that failed. Now we're hearing that Ubisoft might have to cut staff by up to 40%. Now, I do not revel in people losing their jobs, but at the end of the day, if you're bad at your job or you are in a position that is useless, I can't say I'm particularly shocked or sad by the fact that a company is, cutting you off, because we see so many companies now hire useless positions, like, in my opinion, DEI departments. I think those are pretty useless. But now we're hearing that apparently Ubisoft is trying to find a way to save some money after they're losing hundreds of millions to maybe even $1 billion this year from their games. If it's true, they spent $650 to $850 million on Skull and Bones. But this is a That Park Place article. It says at least one analyst speculates that Ubisoft might cut its staff by 40% amid rumors that the company will be bought out and taken private. Now, this has been a rumor for quite a long time at this point, because there have been so many shareholders that have come forward and talked about how unhappy they are with the state of the company, and it wouldn't particularly surprise me if they were bought out and taken private. But while I would initially sit here and say this isn't much of a shocker and it can't get any worse for Ubisoft, once I heard the name associated with this rumor, I realized it could get worse, because it says that Tencent Holdings and the Guillemot family are considering options, including a potential buyout of the French video game developer after it lost more than half its market value this year, according to people familiar with the matter. I will never sit here and praise Tencent. They don't buy out. They want to trick regulators, and instead they invest and invest and invest until they've reached a point where they have a say in a company, and that's exactly how they've slithered their way into every market across the world, and that's exactly what they'll do here. They are controlled by the CCP. They're not a separate entity. The CCP doesn't work that way, and they're already, it sounds like, using the Guillemot family to do their bidding. So if this happens, the Guillemot family is going to come out and say, oh, we had this idea and we really wanted to do this, but Tencent is backing us up. It's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. This is how Tencent is invested in so many companies. They are extremely sneaky. They know exactly what they're doing. And if it happens with Ubisoft, things are not going to get better. I know that we sit here all the time and say, I wish Ubisoft would go back to the way they used to be, where they were creating high quality experiences and they weren't predatorily monetizing their games. But make no mistake, if this happens, it's not going to turn out good because it's freaking Tencent. Now, of course, it would be interesting to see if this is the direction that they head in, because right now there's a bit of a theory spreading, across the internet. It has been for a long time at this point, but it's become more prominent recently, where a lot of people believe that Chinese companies like Tencent are digging their claws into these companies and into video game developers, and they are actually making things significantly worse so that when the game sciences come along and they're releasing titles surrounded, by stories of Chinese mythology, those are extremely amazing experiences. So they're kind of propping up the Chinese created products and sort of denigrating the Western products. And it is an interesting theory. I'm not sitting here saying it's true or false, but it does sound like something that the people over at Tencent would do, because they are extremely scummy. And again, they do try their very best to, get around regulators and ultimately trick people when it comes to business. So I'm not super shocked to hear that apparently Tencent and the Guillemot family are in talks to potentially buy out Ubisoft, but it is extremely worrying. And if this does happen, guys, things are not going to get better for this company. Now, I, of course, am someone who just kind of believes that all of these companies can't be saved because there are so many activists working at these companies. But if they were to lay off about 40% of people, maybe that would be a wake-up call for those at this company who are, spewing their politics and they're not leaving their politics at the door. Maybe this will be a wake-up call for them to go, you know what, I just need to do my job and I need to do it properly. And maybe some of the activists will be weeded out, because 40% is an absolute massive chunk of the people that they have at this company. So there's a lot of rumor, there's a lot of speculation, but things are still not looking good for Ubisoft. Even if this doesn't happen and they don't cut 40% of staff, or this buyout doesn't happen, Ubisoft is in an awful position right now, with the rumors that they spent nearly $850 million on their quadruple A game Skull and Bones because X Defiant failed, because Star Wars Outlaws underperformed, and they had to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows. I, at this point, do not see a way that they could magically turn things around, at least anytime soon. I think it would take years of hard work and effort, and these people hate us. They hate gamers. We've even heard Yves Guillemot say that gamers are toxic, which isn't super shocking since so many people in the industry right now are doing that. But I will be keeping my eye on this, though it sounds that Ubisoft may be going through some massive restructuring in the near future. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.